said on my Instagram story a couple of days ago that I will let you know the process of this piece with some detailed explanation. I know I'm so late, but please forgive me. You know how life gets sometimes. So here you can see me adding the base colors. You can learn about how to choose the right hues and the right saturation in this video that will pop out at the top from the little eye. So just have this 40 seconds of me adding the base colors. Nothing really interesting going on here. I just wanted to save everyone the time of watching me struggle with sketching and doing the line art. You know how the process of those is very well known, so let's just get into what's really important. Okay, so for the skin, you all know from the last video how much I love shading it and doing it. I think I spend more time doing it than other artists. And also I love doing the hair too because, I feel like it's the thing that adds the soul to the character, the skin, hair, eyes. Like, you can mess up the clothes and no one will really care as much as if you messed up the eyes or, the basic anatomy. That, like, basic anatomy is so important, everyone knows that. But, shading the skin and shading the hair and the eyes, especially if it's like a close-up or a bust-up piece. If you messed up the skin and eyes, then your piece is just probably gonna suck. Problem is, when you love the process of doing something, at least for me, you really fear messing it up. That's why there are so many layers I'm having here. Like, I think the many layers easen up the process of editing them and playing around with the hue, saturation, and the edges of things to help get the best outcome possible. I worked on the basics first, adjusting the shading sketch, if you may call it that. Just putting the shadows in the right places and slowly adding more and more definition to everything. You wanna take it slow and steady so you can see how the piece comes together, and I've been really focusing on the face more because I want it to be the focal point of this. Like, I wanted the features of my character to be visible and, just pretty. And adding the lipstick and blush and some nice, interesting shade around those big eyes to draw attention to them. The contrast grabs the eye. The arms are okay. I kind of struggled with them because, I was really not okay with how they turned out, kinda. But I'll go back and correct them later. So back to the face. Add more blush, more lipstick, to make the character look more beautiful, and adding more and more contrast and hues to the face. So I like to have the skin shaded from a light shade gradually to the darkest, so I can, take things slowly. And I also wanted the skin to appear smooth and young. So throughout the process of this piece, I kinda used the well-hated airbrush tool to smoothen the shadows of the edges, as you can see. So now I'm adding the base shadow to the legs. You want them smooth, you want them young, so again I used a bit of the airbrush. Also, this might seem awkward, but I wanted to have that kind of vintage chest dress style, if that makes sense. And something I learned is shadow the circle and highlight what's between the circles. Like, highlight the upside down triangle that comes down from the center of the collarbone. If you understood anything, it's something of the female anatomy. So now I'm adding the dark shade slowly to the skin. I want the light to come from the front, but also like a small light source from the right to have some kind of a more dramatic effect. The legs are now looking good, And I think it will take the attention of the piece, and that is something we clearly do not want. We want the piece to drag attention to the right places of it. That means the face, and I kind of wanted the dress to have the eye wandering through it. So, um, that's the point of this piece. I wanted to draw a nice design for a dress. You want them to at least have the same level of dragging the eye, so the eye can wander through the piece, discovering every part of it. So we shade the rest of the skin the same way we shaded the legs. Now I'm just adding these yellow highlights to the lips, cheeks, collarbones, etc. We want the skin to appear young and shiny. Again, I'm saying that. And the reason I chose yellow is because, I just love adding more and more hues to the piece. I think I said that before, right? I think they're very interesting how you can have many hues in one piece, and it makes the piece so interesting for me. So now I'm just trying to balance the shadows with some reflected highlights. Those will be coming from the left. Reflected lights could really make a piece more powerful. It adds more dimension to it, more depth. You can sense it, right? You gotta keep adjusting it before moving on to the next thing. You want to see here and there to see if something looks odd. You correct it, add more highlights or darker shades, soften edges or harden edges. Whatever you feel is needed, just do it. Alright, so now the eyes. You've seen me do that in the last video as well. A purple base color and making it blue from there. I love having many hues in one piece. It makes it more interesting to look at generally. Alright, so what you want to do is put your darkest shade, the darkest one you'll use. That will be dark violet for me, and then you want to put your lightest hue, not highlight, just your lightest hue, and pretty much just carry on from here however you like. I like to add these thin lines to make it feel more realistic or more of having a soul, and of course always remember to add that white dot. You don't want your character to look dead inside, especially if they're cute looking, unless you want to draw a character out of a horror movie. Now, before I went to the hair, I wanted to add some shading to the clothes, but I got too bored. I'm not that much of a fan for fabric shading. I'm more of a fabric decorating. So, because I'm more of a fabric decorating person or artist, I prefer to be designing outfits, to be creating dresses, to be, decorating, adding things here, adding accessories like that. And so I use traditional art more because if you just design a piece on digital art, I don't know, but I feel like it's kind of like people kind of expect you to shade it and have colors in it. Like it's not that hard to add colors on a digital piece. So that's why. So I added some shadows and then went to the hair because if you're tired, you either stop or continue with something you like. Okay, now the hair. It's the reason I started this piece to begin with, because well, you see you see that hairstyle. You might call it weird, but it's actually from a classic Egyptian movie called Lights of the City or Adwa el Medina. And I really, really, really loved it when I saw it. I was like, yes, I want that. I want that. I want to draw my my OC in that hairstyle. The female lead had the hairstyle. It's a nice movie, but not very logical like most Arabic movies. But I really loved the hairstyle. I wanted to have it on Emma, and I also wanted to draw Emma in some, you know, like it's like in some kind of a tea party. I just didn't know where to begin, and the hairstyle kind of just added the spark for me. It's so interesting. It reminds me so much of the 70s or something like that. I'm I'm a person that is really so much in love with classics and vintage things. Okay, so focus with me because the process of the hair took a lot of time and I got bored because I was really just repeating the same few steps over and over again. Once you get it, you get it. You don't need more than you don't need more like you don't need the brain cells you need for a physics class for this one. Okay, so darkest shade darkest shade ever and carry on from there, gradually carrying on with the shade and making it look good enough to suit the rest of the piece. And then adding highlights, there's really, like I said, there's nothing much going on, just the same three, four steps on repeat. Once you get it, you get it. Also, like, please don't strict yourself into this one art style of shading. Even I bounce from one art style to the other every now and then, and I'm sure everyone noticed. It's kind of feels like, it kind of feels like exposing myself. It's great to have more than one art style. It makes you fluid. Even my sister tells me I should stick to I should stick to anime art style because it brings the most money and people love it more. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, and just draw anime. But you know what happened earlier this year? AI art. And you know in which style that is most popular that AI draws in? Anime. So, the creatives survive. Don't just do one art style if you can. Do cute chibis, do abstract, do paintings in oils or watercolors, draw digitally, draw animation. Just do it all. Like, I kinda also tried sculpting one time. I'm trying to do it again, but it just, the I like to have that thing homemade. Anyways, so the shoes and accessories, like I said, I take it from the core dark shadows and then dark shade, then base color, then a highlight, then a super highlight. Then, if you just want to add some white, add it. There's no rules, just do whatever suits you. And of course, you want to keep in mind the light source while doing that. You don't want to just throw in anything and call it a day. And of course, I did not follow my own advice and did the opposite. But if you ask me, I'd say that kind of make the earring look even more interesting to look at. You don't usually say something that goes against light source rules every day. Um, the shoes took a bit more time because I was a bit unsure of how to do it. I messed up a few times, but then honestly, I got bored, so I just did anything. But yeah, I still kept in mind the light source thing. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's because it's important. You want it to look nice and have that kind of majestic look, crazy nice, but not too much crazy. It's just silly. So I also love to add lots of reflected highlights because yeah, those shoes are shiny. Also, you should practice. It doesn't really just come in a day and a night. You must practice. If you can draw it with me, pause the video every minute if that's what you need, and try to copy my technique. It will help you form yours later on. That's kind of how I learned. Now I'm just playing around with filters and layer modes, and at the end I just keep adjusting it until I get the final product. like no one's too lucky, I guess. So nowadays, what I love to do is use the airbrush here and there and setting it in overlay to make it look nice and have that interesting look and shine. It's always great to get out of your comfort zone and try something new, and that's kind of something I did here. Now, the bow. The fabric is one of the most complicated and not complicated parts for me, you see. Like, fabric takes the shape and the flow of whatever it's covering, the hardness or smoothness, the flow, the light source. These are all things you want to keep in mind. So I'm so in love with this piece. It could have been better, but you know, it's great too. You gotta go easy on yourself. You don't want others to get to you. I believe that you should be yourself's biggest critique, like not biggest hater. You shouldn't be too in love with your art because if you are, then you're leaving no room for improvement. So I guess the best formula is be yourself's biggest critique and biggest supporter too. I sometimes tell my followers to hit me with their salty critiques because yeah, sometimes you're just too used to how you draw, like how your character or art style looks. You can no longer tell if there's something wrong with your anatomy, shading, lighting, pose, or whatever it is. Like like you can ask a friend or a family or a fellow artist, whatever, whoever can help you. Just stick with them, okay? So, I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. I actually had so much fun creating this piece. Like, it took, I guess, 6 hours or more, but yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good enough. So, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!